So good morning or good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lejla Hasandedic. I'm coming from Bosnia and Herzegovina. And when I was invited here to give my short speech about youth contribution to peace, I was thinking on one side I should provide you some academic knowledge, some theoretical approach, even if I'm currently working in university, so probably there will be something expected from some people with my background, but beside that, I decided to share some of my personal experience, and I hope that after you leave this session and after you hear all these amazing stories, that you will think what you can do in your own community and how we can all build peace and better society for all of us. So I grew up in Bosnia and Herzegovina during the war. I'm not sure if you know where is Bosnia and Herzegovina, but I think that my country became famous, unfortunately, because we have this terrible war and genocide that happened there 20 years ago. So I grew up in that environment, and of course that was very terrifying and terrible experience and very traumatic one. So I was growing up in fear. I lost some family members during this war. I also grow up hating others and becoming a young person with a lot of stereotypes and prejudice, because we have war between three different national groups: Croats, Bosniaks, and Serbs. And Croats are mainly Catholics, Roman Catholics. Bosniaks are mainly Muslims, or they belong to Islam, and on the other side, Serbs are mainly Orthodox. So our war is not just about national issues, they were very tightly connected with religion, and nowadays also we unfortunately say okay, if you are Bosniaks, you should be Muslim, so we make equal between national identity and religion identity. So when I was very young, growing up during the war, I asked myself what I can do. And in one way, I can wait for others to make some changes, because if everyone telling, youth people are future leaders, so you should wait your time and give floor to others, elderly one or political leaders, so they will do some change for you. On the other side, as some of my colleagues and friends unfortunately did, they become youth person who are become very destructive. They are living in very divided society, in divided city, with a lot of stereotypes and prejudice. And the third solution was for myself to become peace builder and to bring some positive changes and better future for us. Luckily, I was very encouraged by my family members, and I decided to become youth leader and peace builders, even if I was 12 years old. So, as I've written here, youth are not just future leaders. Youth are leaders and peace builders of today, because we are here, we are present, and we can bring a lot of changes and energy into this field. So when people ask me, but what youth people can do in this kind of environment, there are different kind of things that all of us can do and that all of you should be aware of. First of all is that youth people have power. Youth people have new ideas, new energy that this society needs. For example, youth people are very familiar with the IT technology, they are traveling a lot, and they are not having a lot of stereotypes and prejudice because they are very young. On the other side, education is key, so youth people should educate themselves and to be aware about differences, learn about other culture and other religion. Next thing is that youth people majority of them are open-minded, because they are there living 12 or 13 years, so they didn't have enough time to think always just in the box. Then it helped them to overcome stereotypes and prejudice. And what I learned from my own experience is that it's important to think global, but to act on your local, on your grassroots level, because you can't make so much changes. You can't change the world, but you can change yourself and the society in where you are living, your small community. Also, they should start from yourself, and they should start now. And I believe that small things are making big changes, so that's the reason why I decided starting volunteering. And I hope that all of these can lead us to the final point where we all can be changed that we want to see in the world. So I will just shortly and briefly describe you some of the projects that helped me to achieve my goal of becoming youth peace builders. So I use this networking, volunteering experience. I get very inspired by other people, and I join United Religion Initiative and their Youth Ambassador program, where they try to bring people from all over Europe together, and they provide them leadership training. They learn us about communication skills, and then they provide us some small seed grants to do some work in our local community. I decided to bring people from divided communities, some youth people that never met, for example, some Muslims that never go to church, or never saw the Catholic person, some Catholics who never visit the mosque and never see the Muslim. And then we start this open discussion together. We build a safe space and we go together to the mosque, to the church, and we start investigating what we can do in our local community. So instead of just discussing about stereotypes and prejudice that we are all facing with and fears that we are having about each other, we start investigating what our local community needs. So we start like collecting garbage, we start helping elderly people, we organize humanitarian action, and even if we didn't do anything very tightly connected with the national issue or religion, it helped all our participants to meet each other and to see that they are all the same. They are all youth people sharing the same vision, having the same dreams, liking the same music, enjoying the same activities, and they become friends, they become youth leaders, they become peace builders, and I'm happy that majority of those people decide and continue doing action in their local community now. The next program was Learning to Live Together, a manual developed by Global Network of Religion for Children, which we use in our work with the youth people and which really help us. And then the next thing was, what happening? Okay, and the next thing was United Network of Young Peace Builders, where they published 25 stories of peace, in which they try to bring very inspirational and motivational stories of people. And one of the stories that were published there was my stories called Building Bridges in the City of the Bridge. So I'm coming from Mostar, which is very famous for the old bridge, as you can see. And it was on the UNESCO heritage list, but unfortunately it was destroyed during the war. And it is the bridge that divides the city into two parts. On one side you have mainly Muslims, on the other you have mainly Catholics. And even when people from Turkey, United States are coming there to visit the bridge as a monument, people in my hometown have issue coming to this bridge together to overcoming these stereotypes and prejudice and barrier in their heads. So what I do with my youth colleagues, we bring all these young people together and we together cross the bridge. So it was some very ordinary day. We were just a bunch of youth people crossing the bridge, but what we did, we crossing the bridge, we build bridges between people's hearts, souls, and mind, and we overcome all the stereotypes and prejudice that we have about each other, and that help us to build a better future. And the other project that I'm now taking part is this Aquac one that you already have opportunity to heard about it. It is a common word among the youth. And I will just conclude this presentation with sharing some challenges about when you are working as a youth person in this field and how you can overcome it. So the first one is that people always tell me when I started doing it in the elementary school that I was too young, that I didn't have any life experience to start doing some things. But I will think on the opposite way. I think that this is advantage of every and each youth person, because we are bringing new ideas, we are bringing new energy, we are quite open-minded, and we are grow up maybe with some stereotypes and prejudice, but we have enough time to overcome it and to learn it. The next problem is, for example, in my country, this transgenerational learning, in which you have older person who took part in the war that are transferring this idea and knowledge to the youth person that are born after the war, and now they are growing up hating each other, even if they are growing up in very peaceful environment. So youth people need to be aware of it and to overcome it. The next issue is having issue in communication, which we can overcome it with involving different kind of leadership program in which you will learn about nonviolent communication, active listening, assertiveness, and empathy. And the last thing is that people always tell me you are too young, you don't have money or energy or enough resources, so you can't change the world. Yes, but my answer to that is that all these small steps are leading to the big change. So if you want to change the world, you don't have to be a millionaire or the president of the country. You can go outside of this hotel, you can greet people on the street, you can help elderly people cross the street, you can be open-minded, you can share your experience, you can collect aid for example, Syrian refugees or whatever, because all these small things are bringing big changes. So I encourage all of you to do these small steps when you leave this room, even to meet someone on the conference that you didn't meet, to be a little bit more open-minded, to think out of the box, and I'm sure that till the next year in this time, during all these small steps, we will bring big changes in our community. So thank you for your attention.